They campaign for every brand of revolution, revolution in Ireland, revolution against the police, revolution in the family, revolution in the housing estates and in industry. Maggots, Mr. Kinnock, to use your word, but maggots don't infest healthy tissue. They get to work on corpses, and they ease their candidates into the marginal parliamentary seats, which Labour would have to win if it were ever to achieve a majority.
The Militant Tendency once ran the city of Liverpool. A group of only 7,000 revolutionary socialists, they infiltrated the Labour Party and orchestrated the anti-poll tax campaign. But by last year, Neil Kinnock had expelled most militants, including MPs Dave Nellist and Terry Fields. Their years of power over, Militant had to fight the general election alone and let the world see them as they really are.
People say Marxism dead, but now, as far as I'm concerned, this vicinity is like Eastern Europe used to be. Marxism still exists here. In these photos, we've got the militant members of the Militant Tendency. Incidentally, I've sent copies of these to the National Executive, and it shows them selling their Militant Tendency. Well, first of all, they're selling outside the Royal Infirmary. As I approach them, what do? As soon as they notice me, they hide their faces. They're selling the Militant Tendency. They say there's nothing wrong with it. Then why do they hide? What happens next? Or sorry, rather the next day, I pass on a bus. I get them that time, and then I'm able to identify who's selling the Militant Tendency. From public transport, I was able to take that photograph, and that helped to get some of them expelled from the Labour Party, fortunately.
Does anyone else want a paper?
Yeah.
Yeah, just grab that. Just take them off as well, don't we? Don't have it there, though. Have it down there. Terry knows where it is, anyway, because he's been there several times. Yeah.
Mike, so that's what you think about Frank Dunne, actually, the socialist?
Well, Frank Dunne, frankly, is he's mad. I mean, we know that from the past anyway. But I think it's an indication of the fact that quite often, as militants, we're told that we are the thugs and we go around doing this type of intimidation. And really, to be honest, we're on the receiving end of that type of thing.
Militants working here as the Anti-Poll Tax Federation are monitoring activities of local bailiffs.
The first thing I want to do is just to double check that they are today doing poll tax ones. The thing is, most bailiffs now, 80% of their work is poll tax anyway.
That's the money, it's the easy money, so-called easy money for them.
Well, this is hell.
Salaries and pensioners and young girls.
So if they do that, then do the usual what we've done in the past, is knock up the estate of where they're actually going and make sure people know and chase them.
Across the Northwest and North Wales on 96.7, this is City FM.
The Prime Minister has ended the phony war by confirming that the general election will be on April the 9th.
Terry Fields, 9 years Labour MP for Liverpool Broad Green, has been expelled for militant links. He now has to stand as an independent socialist. Travelling to address council tenants in his constituency, he'll tell them how he takes only half his Westminster salary, giving the rest to socialist causes.
The important thing is this.
I'm not in it for personal gain. It's a couple of my fire brigade comrades over there. I still live, as you know, on a firefighter's rate of pay. And I know what needs to be done on behalf of all of us if we're going to have a better future for the young and for the old alike. Stand firm, be resolute, be encouraged that eventually we'll see the change in society. I'm struggling on your behalf. I can only do it with you. Thanks very much indeed. Thanks for coming out, and make sure that your friends and your neighbours know that we're on the way to a victory. We can keep the Liberals out as long as we vote for Terry Field. So thanks for turning up. Thanks for coming out in this weather.
Bookmakers William Hill have made Labour's Jane Kennedy a strong odds-on favourite to win Liverpool Broad Green. She's on 4-11. Labour Socialist candidate Terry Fields is 7-1.
Right, last night, we had some smashing results last night. We had a crew in from Knowsley, some from your area, and some from Wigan, of all places. I didn't think they'd come from as far as there, but clearly they see us as an important part of the campaign. You see, this leaflet that we're putting out now is going to be targeting Jane as the person who's responsible, one of the people responsible for trying to rid the militant menace, and that's the only point we're going to make about the tendency.
There's no more mention of militants in anything after this, because we don't want to give them too much credibility at all.
I mean, as you can see there, Jane can rid Broad Green and Liverpool of the militant menace once and for all, and represent you as part of the next Labour government in Parliament.
Good morning.
Can we just have a word with you? Jane Kennedy's come to see you.
Oh, yes.
Can I say hello?
Yes.
Pleased to meet you. Can we count on your vote?
Yes, I'm going tomorrow, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes. Might be a change.
Yes.
Yes, it will. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I personally compiled a dossier about militant involvement in the city. It was about 150 pages long. That dossier was the first detailed evidence that the District Labour Party inquiry heard about the involvement of militant.
I've got tape recordings of people being bullied by them. Just give you a brief example. When the District Labour Party was functioning, before it had to be dissolved, this is what happens when I go to walk in, or try to walk in, and get barracked by such a number of out-and-out extreme left-wingers. This is one example.
I'm very busy.
They're shoving and shouting me and barracking me, and this is what everybody gets who attempts to be a moderate in the Labour Party.
How did Trotskyists come to run the city?
A small group of people in Liverpool quite surprisingly gained a large amount of power and authority in the mid-80s because they were able, by the slogans that they used, they would say, we're against cuts in jobs and services. And every council worker in the city would say, yes, I'm against cuts in jobs and services. Therefore, I agree with them. And most people would never seriously think through what it meant to adopt the line that the council was taking. Because most people are not that, they don't spend time thinking about politics to any really great extent. It's people like me who are involved in it, live, breathe and sleep it, that think about it and worry about it.
See, when I had my famous 15 minutes, as Andy said, I want my 15 to be really big.
You went home to get your pasting trousers on. So
I know, but I've just remembered something that precludes me climbing up a ladder.
What's that?
I can't tell you, can I?
You don't want to meet him by the Labour.
I don't give a beep about the Labour Party.
Right.
No, please, just said.
Oh, yeah.
So once there's 2 volunteers, I'll hold the ladder for you. Right. Right, when that woman comes in, give her that. Do a little
What posters do you want up? Them?
No, a woman's coming in, give her 2 of them.
Yeah.
Right.
It's 12 o'clock, I'm Liam O'Donoghue. An opinion poll commissioned by Radio City News shows the official Labour candidate is increasing her lead in Liverpool Broad Green. The survey says support for Jane Kennedy has risen since the start of campaigning, while it's gone down for expelled MP Terry Fields, who's standing as Labour Socialist.
photograph of one of our local Labour Party members, and he's got a Terry Fields poster up. Believe it or not, he works for the council. He was involved in the bin dispute, leader of the bin men. What's happened? All the bin men are strike, but he's still got a job on the copy. Mind you, he switched unions, maybe that helped. I'm going to try and take a check on who's using that committee room over there. I'm sure there's a number of our local Labour Party members, so-called, who will be facilitating themselves over there. So I've got to go with that as well. I'll be taking more photographs of the militants. They'll be submitted with not only my own signature, but 3 other people, providing the date, the time, the exact location of where these Militant Tendency sympathisers were. Here is Tommy Carroll, who was one of the mainsprings of the Militant Tendency in Broad Green. He refused to pay his poll tax because he wasn't on the electoral register. He wasn't able to join the Labour Party. So that was the end of him.
What it is Les here has received a liability order, a notice of distress from Galt's the bailiffs against his 6-year-old son. And this has been issued through Liverpool City Council, passed on to the bailiffs, who are now demanding payments of £389.71 against a 6-year-old. No doubt will be after his Mutant Ninja Turtles and his Hulk Hogan figures.
I think it's the blue transit just coming in.
Yeah, he's pulled into the loading bay.
They're still in the van though?
Yeah, they're still sitting inside it.
Okay, I mean, that's unusual. I can't answer that. We just have to hang out and see where they go.
The militants are conducting surveillance on bailiffs' vans, planning to give chase and stop them carrying out repossessions.
Yeah, mate?
Eddie. Hello. Eddie. It's Mike. We're outside the place now, and there's a van pulled up, one of the vans. So we're just watching it now. They haven't done anything or moved as yet, but we're expecting them to move fairly shortly. Well, yeah, all right. All right, mate, thanks.
Ta-ra.
What are you doing down here?
Watching Jacobs, the bailiffs.
The militants are parked in front of a post office. Police arrive, suspecting an armed raid.
You got your driving licence or anything, or?
I haven't got one, no.
No?
No licence on me at the moment, though. Well, it's the bailiff's firm that's doing poll tax, seizures.
Yeah.
And
So we're keeping
part
an eye
of the
on see what they
activity
do.
that we do as the anti-poll tax union, monitoring the terms of the bailiffs. It's part of the civil, if you like, procedure around the anti-poll tax campaign that we've been conducting.
This is you, is it, Mr. Morris?
Yes, that's right.
What's your first name?
It's John Michael, Mr. J.
I take it
Morris.
you haven't paid your poll tax?
No, I haven't paid my poll tax, no.
I see. Have you paid?
No, I haven't paid my poll
How about
tax.
the lads in the back?
Have you paid your poll tax?
Afraid so.
I've paid theirs. They've
They
paid
have?
theirs, unfortunately, yes.
The gentleman with the glasses on then, you say he's paid his?
You've paid yours? It's scandalous, so yeah, he's paid his.
He's paid his. Then you find that other people besides who you're doing the surveillance on get a little bit concerned.
No, I can imagine.
Especially like when you might look like a handy crew.
Yeah.
You with me? There's other
yeah.
people to take into account.
Yeah.
So
Well,
if
fair
I get a
enough.
check back, so if once you come back saying yes,
It's fine.
that'll be the end of it. All right.
Yeah, all right, no problem.
Cheers.
Yeah, there's another police car. Oh, Ronnie Biggs.
This one, yeah. There's 3. Right, we're moving off now.
Watch your camera, yeah.
Yeah. Just the one?
A bit behind me.
He still can't get over him thinking it was an armed robbery.
We've gone left onto Rolston Drive.
Keep your mic down, mate.
Okay, we've got it. Have you phoned Eddie?
Yeah, I've just phoned him now.
Which way they're heading if they're going down this road? Stay back a little bit.
Shit.
Yeah, mate.
Well, look, the thing is, we lost them at a set of lights. They sped through the lights, so we couldn't follow them anymore. And we think that the police actually tipped them off. because the police went towards the bailiff's office after we'd spoken to them.
My dad died when I was 14, and I'd been unsettled up until then, and then that sort of pushed me a bit. I hadn't been out very much up till my dad died, and then I just went dead reclusive and got into science fiction and that, and just escapism. I just gave up. I didn't see I could affect anything. I couldn't seem to have any control over my life. I got involved with people who were into drugs. I mean, it was like drugs at first. I wanted things that I could hallucinate with so that I could just escape totally, so I could create a different kind of reality.
So how's Militant changed things, Mick?
Militant's given me an education. It's given me a goal. Mainly it's because it's given me a reason to struggle, a reason to not to just lie down and take things. It's given me the ability and the reason to stand up and fight back and to strive, to try and achieve something. It's given me ambition. The reason we spent so much time and worked so hard with the Anti-Poll Tax Federation was so that people can see for themselves that by organising themselves, by saying, I'm not prepared to allow this to go on, they can have an effect in their own lives. The largest instance of civil disobedience this century, the biggest U-turn of the most right-wing leader in modern Europe. I mean, we destroyed Thatcher. We took the Tory government and turned it on its tail.
To boost publicity for their anti-poll tax campaign, the Tendency has started monitoring phone conversations with the bailiffs.
I phoned up Tuesday this week when they asked for it.
What else did they say? Did they ask you to make an arrangement to pay?
They asked me to pay at least £5 a week. I told them I couldn't afford £5 a week. They're saying I owe £300 plus bailiff's charges of £47.
Yeah, no. The bailiffs haven't actually visited you, have they?
No, they just sent letters down.
So they're trying to charge you £47 before they've even visited?
That's right, yeah. And they said they'll take goods out the house, even if I'm not in the house. And my kids are scared now.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is this. It's just a simple device on a tape that we've bought in a local shop. I'll stick it on the back of this receiver here. Okay. So if you ring them, and as you go through, I'll put it on to play and record. Okay.
Morning, Dr. Paul.
I got a letter. This is Mrs. Hayes. I got a letter from the bailiffs saying they're going to come out and take me furniture out. Can you tell me when they're coming out, please?
No, I can't.
Pardon?
I can't.
Well, you know, I'm worried in case I'm not in and...
Oh, no, we're not going to do anything if you're not there.
Well, it says on there that in my absence that you...
No, we won't. We don't do it without if you're not there.
So, why does it say in this letter that you're going to take me goods out if I'm not...
Obviously, we've got to know who lives there first, then we'll remove any absence, but if you've never called to your property before, we won't be sure who lives there, if you're with me.
So this letter is untrue then? This is a lie, this letter, what you're sending out to me?
No, it's obviously worded wrong, but...
So why have you sent me a letter out like this? This is frightening, this letter.
We choose to send them out.
But don't you think it's wrong? I mean,
No, because them letters recover us money, so obviously you do the trick.
It's a trick?
No, them letters work in recovering the money which is outstanding to us.
When will you be coming out?
What they do on the letter?
It says if it's not paid in no later than the 10 a.m. on the 25th of February, you'll be calling
Any time around that date it would be then.
Well, can't you tell me when? I don't want my children to see what you're going to do.
No,
It'll upset them.
We don't do that. There's like understandable reasons. You could be waiting there with 12 men with sticks.
What do you mean? I'll have 12 men?
No, but if I give you the dates, you could be waiting there, pardon the expression, mob-handed.
Mob-handed?
Yeah.
I don't know any people like that too,
No, but that is the reason why we do not give the date.
Well, he said it was an actual trick, didn't he?
Well, he said it does the trick. That's what it sounded like to me on the tape.
Either way, they've admitted that they know that it's incorrect to use it. It isn't just, he didn't say, oh, well, we can say that, with that, because that's what we can do.
Yeah.
So they know that they shouldn't be using those terms, so they have done it. So the idea behind doing it was to scare people into, thinking, oh, well, I'd rather pay it than have it around when I'm not here.
Read the Militant. Read about the campaign against the poll tax. Beat the bailiffs. Get your copy of the Militant. Read the Militant newspaper. Read about the campaign to beat the poll tax.
Right, and why have you come here to the bailiffs itself? What are you going to do?
Well, this is the bailiffs itself. We intend to go upstairs. The bailiff is called Mr. Wall, if he gave us his correct name. We intend to go upstairs to try and ask the bailiffs to justify their actions and explain to them that we're putting a protest in, and also to reinforce the point again that wherever they turn up in Liverpool, the Anti-Poll Tax Federation will be there to back up people at the sharp end of this debt, at the sharp end of the poll tax, who can't afford to pay it, and we'll be there to meet them and to make sure that they gain entry to nobody's houses in Liverpool.
Bailiffs in Liverpool are being accused of using misleading and underhand tactics to get people to pay their poll tax. Anti-poll tax campaigners are demonstrating outside the city centre office of a bailiff who they claim has broken the rules governing debt recovery.
All the media coverage that we normally get is just a slur, like they slag us off. They don't actually argue on politics because they know that if we put our point across to people, then there's a lot of people there that give us support. So the idea is keep it quiet. So no one actually, the majority of people that say, oh, I'm not interested in Militant, I don't want to know about Militant. If you challenge them on what Militant stands for, they don't know. They've just got an impression that there's something bad about Militant. And that, for the people who run society, Militant is a bad thing because we're going to take off them what they now control. But like this programme, we're not expecting it to come out on our side because the idea of making a programme is so you can sell it, right? So you can get it distributed. Now, you're not going to sell it if it's a nice programme about the Militant, but at least through this programme, we're getting a chance we don't normally get, whereas we can come in to the programme, you're talking to the people involved in the Militant, and we can say why we're involved in the Militant and why we think like people should join and what exactly we're going to do. So no matter how the programme comes out, it's giving our message across to a wider layer of people.
Before he joined the Militant, he seemed lost. He wanted to do a lot, but it was a kind of frustration. There was nothing he could do on his own. And since he's joined the Militant, he's blossomed. He seems to be really going for it. And anything that's going on with the Militant, he's there. It seems to be. But when I first heard that he was in the Militant, I thought of aggravation and hostility, and that they caused all the aggravation. But since I've had time to talk about it and take time out to talk to Mike about it, I find most of the people are like himself, who are caring, considerate, and they just want everyone to be equal, really.
Yeah. Hello, we're out canvassing for Terry Fields.
Yeah.
Did you know Paddy Ashdown was coming here today with Rosemary Cooper?
No.
Well, he is. Could we ask you for your support? Would you put a poster up for Terry Fields? What's going on? Well, we're out here canvassing for Terry Fields. Did you know Paddy Ashdown and Rosemary Cooper were coming round today? What for? Looking for your votes.
Oh, they tell him to bugger off.
This was not really traditional Liberal Democrat territory. Paddy Ashdown went to run down inner city Liverpool to talk about housing and try to revive Liberal fortunes in an area where the Militant Tendency has split the Labour vote. He met with considerable hostility, but ignored the advice of his aides to talk to householders angry at the lack of repairs.
I've known people since December. How long is it?
He's never been in a flat like that as well.
Mr. Ashdown made a determined effort to remain upbeat, then took on a group of young fellas. They'd been shouting that they could not and would not pay the poll tax.
Just tried to make it look as though he's surrounded by thugs who threatening him.
Said he actually had 10 threatening phone calls.
Oh, yeah.
I said if he's a fella, hopefully he's done more damage to himself. Never mind us, do anything. I'd run over him with my family.
That's it, you see, they just go around staging media events try and, what you were saying there, make us look like a bunch of thugs. Knowing full well that they're going into an area where nobody likes the Liberals, no one likes Rosemary Cooper, because she never does anything. But that's the reason why it makes a difference with Terry. He lives in a council house in Bootle. Yeah. He lives on the same wage he used to get as a fireman. And that's why he can walk around areas like this, because he knows about it. Where does Paddy Ashdown live? He's an MP the same as Terry, but he probably gets double the wages of Terry.
Comrades is a general term for, like, which most people use who consider themselves as being socialists. It's basically it's from the word friend, and it's normally the people you feel as though you can rely on the most. Plus, it doesn't discriminate. It's, you know, non-elitist. There's no say, or you don't have really anyone who's superior to you, or anyone who you could consider menial. So, like, it's just an all-round term to include everyone in, like, the common goal kind of thing.
Liverpool playwright Alan Bleasdale's been explaining why he'd like to inflict political GBH on the Conservative Party during a trip to the city by Glenys Kinnock.
The people of the Militant and that, it's not just politics, although we are, you know, serious about politics and what's going on. But we all go out together, we go to nightclubs, we have parties, have people around me. My best friends are involved in the tendency. You know, we're just like really a family in that. You can always rely on the people in that.
Read Militant, defend the NHS, special articles on Liverpool today. Read a Militant.
Obviously I read the Militant newspaper every week. I read political books, particularly on issues like women's issues, which I'm particularly interested in. I like novels, I like magazines, I like reading the Cosmopolitan, that's one of my favourites.
The members of Militant Tendency, they have this obsession for cold politics. They have these continual caucus meetings. And of course, as we know, they sell the Militant newspaper every weekend, hail, rain or snow. Now, the main tactics that they use is that they make a lot of promises to people in Liverpool who are in need. They say that this is your problem, we'll solve it. And believe me, I'm not running my city down, but in Liverpool there are these problems.
Well, this is Claire, my granddaughter. She's here for the simple reason that when my daughter Jeanette was pregnant, she was in a flat in Park Street, which nobody wanted to know anything. She had a really bad time. And it was only Militant councillors who fought for her and got a flat where she is now. And thanks to them, this baby's here today. Because they would have just wanted her to go back to that hellhole in which she lived. A beautiful little thing like this, you know.
This is where Jeanette was living here. Look, this is it, the hellhole, what she went through. Smackheads, bleeding, dickheads, you name them, whatever you want to call them. And that there is the window that I actually banged and banged on. I thought she was dead. So if you want to come in and have a look at this place, right? Be careful now. Right, be careful. Put your belly up, babe. They got in 11 times in 8 weeks. They battered her up. She was unconscious on the couch. They stripped the 3 lights I put up for her, what Lottie in the shop gave me. They smashed the toilet up, they took the sink, they took the copper piping, you name it, they took it. They left her with nothing. I mean, she didn't have anything to begin with, but they left her with zilch. And they expected her to come back here
and live in this hellhole.
And it wasn't just her, you know, that's what we're not to forget here. It wasn't just Jeanette, she was pregnant. Yeah. How can you expect to send a pregnant woman back to, it was a slum anyway. But it was ripped out, it's a ripped out slum. And what they actually said was, tough shit. Go back, live there, there's nothing we're going to do for you. But Joan Brown wouldn't accept that. And neither would Nancy. And that's why Jeanette's where she is now.
you know. And that's why I've got a lovely little granddaughter for now.
I know what I've done. I joined the Militants, along with Nancy and other people like me, because there was nowhere else to go. I'm a Labour Party member. Whether there will be after this programme or not, I don't know. But the fact is that I went to the Labour, the official Labour Party, and they didn't want to know.
Radio City News, election special update.
Terry Fields is insisting he's going to win Liverpool Broad Green, despite a Radio City News opinion poll showing him in 3rd place.
Morning. Sorry to say, the canvassing for Terry Fields.
Not interested.
Is it that you're not voting?
I didn't say I wasn't voting. I said not interested.
You're not voting
no,
for
I'm
Terry?
watching the cricket.
Okay, love.
Thanks a lot.
It used to be that.
Hi, sorry to disturb you, love. We're canvassing on behalf of Terry Fields for the general election.
No.
Is there a reason? Is it that you vote for another party or what?
No, I vote for Labour. I don't vote for Terry
And
Fields.
you're voting for Jane Kennedy. You do
Yes.
realise that, she's been imposed. Last year, 12 months ago, Terry was selected by the constituency by over 78% of the vote.
Well, I don't believe in Terry Fields, so no, sorry.
You don't? Okay, love.
Thanks. Ta now.
These are, hello, these are the tiny trucks, and that is absolutely wonderful, isn't it? Now, are you going to do some faces in there? Like that? Do you want to do some faces? These are the tiny trucks. They're, the creche is for all the kids of the people who are out canvassing now. And what we try and do is we try and get people who don't normally look after their kids. Sorry? That's beautiful. That is our beautiful house.
Robin Hood, Robin Hood, Robin Hood, Robin Hood.
The revolution will come about through the labour movement. We've seen the failing to capitalism, and it's on a downward turn now. This will affect the vast majority of the working class to a greater or lesser degree. The conditions will worsen. People will have little faith in the bourgeois politicians.
My daughter Margaret, Mick's sister, she's into the Jehovah's movement, and her husband is also. And even the baby now is being brought up in that. He's 3, Lee. And she is very strong in her convictions. Yeah, she really believes. I mean, basically, it's a similar situation to Mike, because all they want is for everyone to be happy and to live in harmony. Michael and Margaret, they are kind of naive, but I think that's the essence of it, really. It's kind of innocent. It's an innocence that people should be like that, really. They should all be that way, so that they want to help and join together in some form of religion, group or whatever.
When are you having your next meeting, girl?
Thursday.
She's got a Pooh Bear money box, and she just disappeared one day upstairs, and she came down with it with now let's see. This is the money box, Mum. I said, what for, girl? These are the files, by the way. Kids' militant files.
And there's one at the door.
And,
Go and answer it.
yeah, good. She came down with this on it. Money box for children's militant meetings, thank you. Well, that's that. She's got a couple of bob in there as well, And these are the files. She keeps all the paperwork in here, but Mum's threw it out because there was a bit of rubbish in it. But what she was just talking to me. She said, well, what you do in your meetings, Mum? And I just said, well, we just talk on different topics. I said, it's not all politics, So she said, but Mum, she said, I hate Maggie Thatcher. She said, and that Mr. Major's like here, isn't he? So I, you know, this is here, like, you know, so I said, well, yeah, he's carrying on the same thing as he's doing. She said, well, I'm going to be a militant kid, Mum. So she said, can I have meetings in our house? I said, of course you can. But she said there's no adults whatsoever allowed. She said all those adults could go over to Phoenix for a drink while they were having the meetings. Is this what you done?
Yeah.
Read it out to me, please.
If I was Prime Minister, I would stop the poll tax and I would try to stop wars and I would help everybody to have food and be clean, happy and loved. And I would build more houses for people who need them and really help the poor. I would try to solve everybody's problems.
It's good, that girl, isn't it? Right? And is that what you do if you was Prime Minister?
Yeah.
I think in this country and across the world, revolution is inevitable in terms of capitalism has given all it can, you know, all it could possibly offer. So, you know, the people would arm themselves.
You're a nice cosmopolitan reading girl. You're not going to go out and take up arms, are you?
Yeah, the thing is, when it comes down to it, it'd be between them or you. That they'd be prepared to do it to you. You know, they're prepared to let working class people's lives now just be totally wasted.
Sheila, what do you think life would be like after the revolution?
I think after the revolution, there'd be so much more in terms of opportunities open to individuals. Nobody would be forced into relationships that were unsuitable. Nobody would be forced to work 40 or 50 or however many hours a week in jobs that totally, you know, that left your brain dead, that didn't stimulate your mind at all. There'd be so much more opportunities for individuals. Everybody would have some kind of power. They'd have a say in what was going on in the country. It wouldn't be left to like people at the top who supposedly knew what they were doing. We'd all have a say in what was going on.
It'd be rather grey and colourless.
It certainly wouldn't be grey and colourless. The fashion industry would really explode because it'd be individual ideas. It wouldn't be, say, Jean-Paul Gaultier or Catherine Hamnet or whoever saying this season this is what we're all going to wear, and it'd be on the French catwalks, and then we'd all wear it for a season, you know, the version made by Topshop or whatever. It'd be so much more individual experimentation by individuals. There'd be new colours, fabrics and everything's being worn. Everybody would have their own personal expression.
We're halfway through the campaign now, and through your endeavours we've built a solid rock now to build on. I think the other so-called parties who are challenging us have well peaked. They've done the business, they've done the worst. We're strong, we're intact, and we're ready to go tomorrow morning, kicking off for our second half. We've taken our second breath tonight, but I'm confident the work you've done now has set the footings for a tremendous victory on April the 9th. It'll be down to you. You want to congratulate yourselves. Thank you for all the work you've done. Dreaming, I'm always dreaming, dreaming, love will be mine, searching, I'm always searching, hoping one day I'll find someone one who need me. But until then, I'll keep on dreaming. I'm always dreaming.
I mean, something has got to be done, because we're not going to be downtrodden anymore or shit on by this capitalist system. It's got to be a socialist system.
I'm always searching.
The thing is, you could never fully imagine all the opportunities, everything that there could be after a revolution under socialism. There'd be a cure for AIDS tomorrow, for example. Cars that could run on water, the everlasting light bulb, things like that.
But until then, I'll keep on dreaming. I'm always dreaming. Dreaming till my dreaming comes true.
Militant, in effect, are the vanguard of the revolutionary struggle for socialism. They're the vanguard of the working class.
They see themselves very much as the vanguard of the left, and they would galvanise the working class, that's their claim, into a revolution which would overthrow the state as we know it. It's absolute nonsense, and they are light years away from those conditions in this country. And what people actually really want is a government that's going to do its best to improve conditions for the majority of people. That's why, obviously, most people want a Labour government, certainly in the constituency I'm standing in.
Thank you for coming. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks for the help.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye.
Now it's our chance to stand by him. Vote Terry Fields. Terry Fields, a man of principle. Vote by the working class. Now stand by him. Vote Terry Fields.
Even from other parts of the country, they're concentrating on Broad Green, which some of them regard as their Stalingrad. If they lose Broad Green, they've lost, they're out for good. And we're going to make sure that's what happens.
See you now.
Bye.
Once again, the militants have been up to the usual routine, issuing leaflets claiming to be the Labour Party. They are not the Labour Party. They are imposters. The outcome of this election will show quite clearly that they've not been just merely isolated because of the expulsions. They've been annihilated.
Posters are going up in the windows. I mean, that's a commitment, by the way, when that poster goes up and it stays up.
Well, even the Labour Party says itself, every poster is worth 9 votes. So on that basis alone, we've got 2.
We better get the comrades in off the polling station. Let's all go out for a pint now. We're there.
It's 10 o'clock. I'm Liam O'Donoghue. Stay with us throughout the night for the results, the state of the parties, and live declarations from the key marginals.
No doubt, Kennedy's got it, maybe about 40%. Oh, we'll get some good votes in some of the areas, but some polling districts, just not getting it.
Okay. Smile, prepare yourself for the worst.
Oh, no, it's okay.
I'm just going to do an interview. Be back shortly. Well, I don't think the Liberal Democrats are going to win. Labour is still strong in Broad Green. But we'll see what happens at the end of the night. Politics is my life. Looking and caring for the working class. And I've been privileged, as I say, in the last 9 years. And we're admitting defeat in any way. Every day is a victory for us.
The votes cast in this election are as follows. Rosemary Elizabeth Cooper, 11,035. Terence Fields, 5,952. Jane Elizabeth Kennedy, 18,000. $18,062. And as Deputy Acting Returning Officer for this election, I declare that Jane Elizabeth Kennedy, duly elected to serve as Member of Parliament for the Liverpool Broad Green constituency.
Liverpool is where Militant began its life. The Liberal Democrats had rather hoped to take this, but in fact Labour's taken it, and Terry Fields has got only 6,000 votes.
Comrades! This campaign in Broad Green in these last 3 weeks, in these last 9 years, is, I believe, unprecedented in the history of modern working class struggle. Yes. Listen, the result tonight in numbers on the adjudicating officer's slip is a load of garbage. You will know going down the estates, talking to people, raising the issues, the class issues, which have an importance on their lives, that we have roots, firm roots, amongst the working class of Broad Green. However, we have to acknowledge that this was cut across by the underlying demand and support for getting rid of the Tories. You know about the lies on the doorstep. Finished up by saying, Douglas MacArthur, 1942, I will return, or if not me, somebody like me. Our time is yet to come. Hey, listen. They see the crescent, we see the whole. Arise, ye scarlet from your slumbers. Arise, ye criminals of want. For is the living one of thunders, and the last ends the age of Christ. Away with all your superstitions, serve our masters aright.
Cutting Edge gains access for the first time ever to the House of Lords. That's next Monday at the same time, 9 o'clock.
Keep in touch.
What's this space? Thanks a lot.
Read my lips.
Yes.
There you are.